we clearly see a rise in Christian nationalism. A storm is gathering in the political and religious skies of America, and most people don't even see it coming. But for those who understand Bible prophecy, the signs are unmistakable. The steady rise of Christian nationalism isn't just a cultural phenomenon or a political strategy. It is in fact the prophetic prelude to something far more ominous: the formation of the image of the beast, a church-state union that will ultimately enforce a national Sunday law. What we're witnessing in 2025 is no coincidence. It is a fulfillment of what God revealed through His Word and what His servant Ellen White warned about over a century ago. In recent months, voices have grown bolder in calling for a Christianized state. When Protestantism shall stretch her hand across the gulf to grasp the hand of the Roman power, our country shall repudiate every principle of its constitution as a Protestant and Republican government. The image of the beast is formed when the United States, a Protestant republic, enforces religious observance at the bidding of the church. This is not speculation. This is scripture. Revelation 13:14-15 tells us that the second beast, the United States, deceived them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast, and he had power to give life unto the image, and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. Isn't the image of the beast the very reflection of papal Rome's system, the union of church and state, where the church uses the state to enforce her dogmas? And what is the hallmark of the enforcement? Sunday sacredness. When the leading churches of the United States, uniting upon such points of doctrine as are held by them in common, shall influence the state to enforce their decrees and to sustain their institutions, then Protestant America will have formed an image of the Roman hierarchy, and the infliction of civil penalties upon dissenters will inevitably result. That is exactly what Christian nationalists are now openly promoting. Consider the bold rhetoric of modern advocates like Jared Longshore and Lennox Kalifungwa, both of whom openly reject the idea that law can be morally neutral. In a recent discussion titled "Imposing and Legislating Christian Morality," Longshore ridiculed the idea that Christians should avoid legislating morality. He said, "Freedom won't be found in claiming that you're God. That's really what people want when they say, 'Don't legislate morality.' They want to be Yahweh." The argument is clear. All law is based on some moral standard. The only question is whose morality will rule. Lennox Kalifungwa went even further. In another discussion titled "All Nations Must Be Christian," he declared that a Christian nation means a government where every institution, from law to education to entertainment, bows the knee to Christ. His word is the law of the land, and every institution, family, church, state, recognizes that authority. It was even called for a civil government that studies the law of God and governs accordingly. Let that sink in. These are not fringe voices. These are well-organized, well-funded, and increasingly mainstream Christian voices calling for a theocratic reformation of the United States. But when the church gains control of the state, what happens to religious liberty? Ellen White again provides the answer. The time is not far distant when the test will come to every soul. The observance of the full Sabbath will be urged upon us. Already the language is shifting. Terms like natural law, Christian governance, and the primacy of conscience are used to soften the push for laws based on religious doctrine. But it is the same spirit that animated the prosecutors of the Middle Ages. And the Protestant churches, once defenders of liberty, are becoming its most dangerous enemies. Listen again to Ellen White. The Protestants of the United States will foremost in stretching their hands across the gulf to grasp the hand of spiritualism. They will reach over the abyss to clasp hands with the Roman power. And under the influence of this threefold union, this country will follow in the steps of Rome in trampling on the rights of conscience. Have we not already seen this unfold? When Christian politicians promote church-state union as a path to national healing, we are seeing the fulfillment of this very prophecy. When Pope Leo XIV tells world leaders to legislate according to the eternal natural law of the Church, we are seeing the formation of the image. When Christian nationalists demand that Jesus reign over civil law, we are seeing a foundation being laid for the image of the beast. The cry to make America Christian again may sound noble, but it is leading directly to the loss of religious freedom.